Hi, I'm Jeff, and welcome to another one of my videos where we take a look at all the new comic books coming out on either December 12th or 13th, 2023, and I ask myself the question, what one new comic book would I buy this week if I could buy just one book? Usually I start off these videos by talking about my pick from 2 weeks ago, but I didn't talk about my pick from 2 weeks ago last week, so I would start off by talking about my pick from 3 weeks ago, but I haven't read Somna yet. I just haven't gotten around. I have a small stack of comic books that I need to read and I haven't gotten to them yet. At some point I'll get to Somna and I will tell you my thoughts on it. However, I did read my pick from 2 weeks ago, which was Something is Killing the Children, issue number 35, and the question remains, was it a worthy and worthwhile pick to be my just one book pick of the week? The answer is absolutely yes. 1,000,000 times yes. I thought there might be some key spec potential to the book, but there really isn't. But from a storytelling and a reading perspective, it was phenomenal. It changed the future of the title forever. It changed things for our main character that's going to influence the rest of her journey. It was really entertaining. It was heartbreaking. It was filled with action. It was great. Something is Killing the Children is a fantastic title. I recommend it to everybody. And issue number 35 was a perfect example of what is great about Something is Killing the Children. So yes, it was a worthy and worthwhile just one book pick. All right, let's go ahead now and move forward and take a look at the books that are coming out this week. I have some honorable mentions and then I have a just one book pick for this week. Excuse me. First off, I want to tell you about 3 books that I am pulling this week. They were already on my pull list, and I was guaranteed to be buying them, and now I'm going to tell you about them. Those 3 books are House of Slaughter, issue number 20 from Boom Studios. House of Slaughter is more of what I love about Something is Killing the Children. Not quite as good as Something is Killing the Children, but good and interesting and cool stories. This current story arc has been pretty cool, pretty entertaining, and pretty unique in its own way. This issue concludes that story arc, and I'm looking forward to seeing how it ends. I'm also picking up Zawa, issue number 2. The full title is Zawa and the Belly of the Beast, issue number 2 of a 5-issue limited series, also from Boom Studios. For issue number 1 was one I picked up off of the strength of writer and artist Michael Dialynis. I like him and I like his work, and issue number 1 was really entertaining and a cool story that I want to see through to the end. So I will be picking up issue number 2 as well as issues number 3, 4, and 5 when they come. The last book that was already on my pull for this week is The Madness, issue number 5 of a 6-issue limited series from AWA. This is one that I was surprised that I liked as much as I did when I first read it, and I was like, okay, J. Michael Straczynski, I'm going to stick with it to the end, and it's been an entertaining and interesting story that I've been enjoying. We're almost done with it with issue number 5 out of 6. My honorable mentions this week that I'm not pulling, first one I want to tell you about is Spider-Gwen Smash, issue number 1 from Marvel Comics. The plot is that Spider-Gwen's like, I'm going to stop being Spider-Gwen for a minute, and I'm going to go on tour with my band, and I'm just going to play the drums. But of course, that's not the way things are going to play out. Spider-Gwen, the hero, is going to have to show themselves at some point. The story itself doesn't sound that interesting, but I mentioned this week because Spider-Gwen, I think, is a character that has a lot of appeal, and even a lot of still potential. I went to LA Comic-Con last weekend, and probably the cosplay that I saw the most of was women dressed as Spider-Gwen. And I have to say, the same was true 2 years ago, or a full year ago, 2 Comic-Cons ago, LA Comic-Cons, when I saw the same thing. I saw multiple women and young girls in Spider-Gwen costumes. So I think the character is worth taking note of whenever something is coming out with them. And I'll also mention that books like Ultimate Fallout 4, which is the first appearance of Miles Morales, that book has been just dropping in value, just like a lot of books are in the current comic book market. However, the first appearance of Spider-Gwen is holding pretty firm at the price that it's been for a while. Once again, that speaks to the popularity of the character. And since the character is as popular as it is, that's why Spider-Gwen Smash is on my honorable mentions this week. The next honorable mention I want to tell you about is a new book. It is called Beyond Real, issue number 1 from Vault Comics. Basically, the description is a woman gets into a car accident with her boyfriend. They both get injured. The boyfriend is in a coma, but the girlfriend can now start to see things that she couldn't see before, namely the fact that they are all existing inside a computer simulation. She now wants to find the originator of this simulation in an effort to try to save her boyfriend who's in a coma. It's very Matrix-leaning type of thing, but the Matrix wasn't even the first, story to ever lean into being in a simulation. But it's a fertile ground for storytelling as far as my interest is concerned. And for that reason, that is why I've made it an honorable mention. If you are also interested in this type of story being told, then maybe you consider checking this out this week. The next book I want to tell you about is another new book. It is called The Bloody Dozen, A Tale of the Shrouded College, issue number 1 of a 6-issue limited series from Image Comics. Basically, it's about, well, I'll read the description for you real fast. It's short. It says, space vampires. In this new installment of The Shrouded College, Charles Soule and Will Slinley's supernatural horror adventure saga, 3 down-and-out astronauts are tasked with the ultimate heist, breaking a group of deadly vampires out of a space prison orbiting the sun. Apollo 13 meets Blade in this killer thriller. Now, if I read that description to you, or if I read it to myself, generally my reaction would be, space vampires? Pass. But this is being written by Charles Soule, like I mentioned a moment ago. And Charles Soule is a fantastic writer. I'm reading his Star Wars series right now, which is really, really great. He also wrote 8 Billion Genies, which was a massive hit. And because it was a massive hit, because it had a great, great story. So even though the premise of this seems a little, I don't know, the writer of it is top notch. So if space vampires interest you, I strongly recommend picking this one up. The next book I want to tell you about is another new book. It is called Masterpiece, issue number 1 from Dark Horse. The description is very long, so let me try to sum it up for you. There's a 16-year-old girl who doesn't know her parents. But it turns out her parents were these master criminals who pulled off the kind of heists that you see in movies like Ocean's 11, like legendary heists. And the last one that they performed before disappearing was they robbed this billionaire of $1 billion. Well, that billionaire didn't love that, and so the billionaire finds out that this 16-year-old is the daughter of these disappeared criminals and wants to use her to get them to rob somebody else for their benefit. It's a little convoluted, but it could be interesting enough. The main reason that I'm mentioning this book this week is because it's from writer Brian Michael Bendis and artist Alex Maleev. These two are solid contributors to comic book storytelling. Greats like Bendis that have been around for a long time doing amazing things. So if you're a fan of Bendis and Maleev, this might be a book worth checking out this week. My last honorable mention is another new book. It is called Invasive, issue number 1 of a 4-issue limited series from Oni Press. So this book is about illegal underground plastic surgery. That could be really, really dark, really, really gory, gross, graphic, disgusting. Everything we love about those types of things. Now, I mean, to be quite honest, those types of stories can be really, really entertaining. And there are people who really, really like gory comic books. And I think that that is what is going to come out of this. But I'll also mention that this is from writer Cullen Bunn. And Cullen Bunn is a fantastic and prolific writer. So it's not just going to be gore for gore's sake. It's also likely to be a very interesting and entertaining story. So if you're interested in a good story that's potentially very gory, you might consider picking up Invasive this week. Those are all my honorable mentions, and that brings me to the one book that I would buy this week if I could buy just one book. And that book is Guma, issue number 1 of a 7-issue limited series from Titan Comics. Here's the description. Young Khalida escapes from a drug syndicate and discovers an ancient blade in a long-abandoned temple. Using its power, she becomes the goddess of the city, controlling the citizens through dark magic and fear. But events are being manipulated against her from the shadows, targeting Khalida. A final action-packed confrontation will reawaken the ancient war and change the balance of power between heaven and hell forever. Okay, first and foremost, that description, that plot sounds pretty interesting. A woman discovers these magical powers, becomes a goddess, but then things are happening to kind of muck that up for her, which ends up resulting in a war, of sorts, between heaven and hell. Those are big stakes, really kind of creative and dynamic and interesting setting and storytelling. There seems to be a lot of things that are good there from a plot perspective. So that's very, very interesting to me. But what's most interesting to me is the writer and artist of this book. And that writer and artist is Ji-Hyung Lee. Ji-Hyung Lee is an artist that does fantastic work. I was going to put some of it up there on the screen while I talked about him, but I did a Google search, an image search, and I was like, every single one was amazing. Amazing, 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 amazing. Oh, they were all amazing, and I was just like, you know what? I'm just going to suggest that you look up, if you don't know Ji-Hyung Lee already, look him up and just enjoy what there is. Fantastic, fantastic artist. So from an art perspective, I expect this book to be top-notch. This is also written by Ji-Hyung Lee. Now, that could be a mixed bag of success. You never quite know how good of a writer is an artist going to be. But I will say there was a Kickstarter apparently for this book. I don't know much about that. But it does mean that it's been something that's been in development for a long time. And I believe this is Ji-Hyung Lee's first ever attempt at writing and drawing a comic book. So I have to assume that he brought his best idea to the table, his best concept for a story to the table with this book. So if he has any good writing in him, any good stories in him, it's probably going to be this one right here. So because he's such a phenomenal artist, and because this is his first time ever writing something, it could be very, very good, or it could be very, very bad. But I'm hoping it's very, very good. And in the off chance that it is just fantastic writing and fantastic art, I'm excited and interested in checking it out. And for that reason, I have made Guma my just one book pick for this week. Okay, that's it. If you like this content, likes are very much appreciated by me. So please hit that like button. And if you haven't already subscribed, I invite you to do so right now. Thank you all so much for watching this video. I'll see you in the next one.